Okay, guys, let's keep it going. So I'll just show you the cards. I didn't have enough room on the phone. So as I was saying with the devil, Leo, you're adventurous, so you may get yourself into some situations. There may be some addictions. In the card, these two people are bonded together, but the chains are loose enough so that they really can get free if they really, really wanted to. And is this a situation that's almost like the devil's controlling them because they want to be controlled? And in reverse, I believe it's the same thing, just maybe to a little lesser of a degree. So just take a good look at that devil card while I talk about it for a little bit. So the same situation, but maybe just to a little lesser degree with this devil card. So you guys trying to let go of addictions, bondage, negative situations, some of those really fiery energies that can, like I talked about in other videos, every sign has a shadow side. And as you see in this card, there's a lot of red and black. And there's actual fire in the card. There's fire over here. And if you just take a really good look at the details. So Leo, that's really talking to you and about taming that fire energy. And I think because the card came out in reverse, you're trying to do that. You know it's an issue. You know that fire is for a reason, because that fire is what propels you to conquer, to get up and go to places that some people would never go and would never conquer or never be brave enough, courageous enough, and self-confident enough to do. But that is the same fire that can also burn you. So that's the devil in reverse, Leo. So then for the present card, I got the Three of Cups. And I feel like I'm trying to let go of some of those burdens, some of those hurts and past situations, and some of those things that has you tied to the devilish or demonic energy, or that overusage of your fire or your carnal energy. In the present is bringing you to partying, and I see these three glasses. So either, those issues and those ties, there could have been issues with drinking, with partying. Whatever those bondage issues were, with the devil, it brings you back to the three. So it tells me you aren't quite stable yet. You don't have a total hold, because we're talking about the number three. You don't have a total hold on the situation and what's going on with you, Leo, but you are trying. And I think either you get into a place where you're starting to get some things figured out and seeing what you need to do to be on the right path, to have a victory and be that courageous and self-confident lion that you are. I don't know what a Leo is without self-confidence. It's just not a Leo. So and I don't care how they look, how tall, how skinny, how cute, how ugly, how fat. A Leo is the picture of self-confidence and radiance and I almost want to say regal, or mighty. Let me say mighty, because when you look at the line that rules the jungle, it's mighty. So just be in the present. If you are getting past some bondage issues and some more demonic kind of issues and things like that, don't party too hard. Don't celebrate just yet, because the overall card, the card on the bottom of the deck for the overall theme was the Nine of Wands. So it's almost time to close your chapter and move to the next phase, whatever it's going to be. It's time to close that, almost time to close that chapter and move on to the next phase. But at the same time, don't you may have a small victory. There may be, moments to be happy and to rejoice going on. But remember the battles that you've been through and what led you to that situation in the beginning. You don't want to take it overboard and go backwards to what you're trying to get away from. And also, Three of Cups in the present, maybe you have you have a good group of friends, a good support group. This looks like a good support group to me. Two other really good friends, something like that. I don't, cups are emotional cards. So I don't want to say, this, I'm not getting anything as far as like a love reading. And if love is coming up in this reading, it's coming up in a way of a bondage. It's not coming up of a way as where the cards are really speaking to a relationship or a partnership or a heavy partnership. I'm just getting cards about bondage. Situations that we may be in that are more so karmic, that may not necessarily be healthy for us. But I think the Leo is moving to maybe seeing that there is you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But in order to get to this place where you've got the sun in a future position, Leo, and this is beautiful for the Leo. I mean, this is the Leo card. I don't see how the sun can't be the Leo card. I can't recall offhand. I mean, but if it's the sun, it has to represent Leo, right? So, if this is the Leo card, and even if it's not, this was in your future position, Leo. So this is what you're working towards, and this is what is out there for you, Leo. Is for you to rule your journey. You've got your self-confidence back. You are the master of your world. You're no longer gonna let people or situations beat down on the Leo. Leos are very kind, considerate, helpful. They will stick up for you in a situation like somebody's bullying you. Lots of fun and just beautiful people. So I know if a Leo was going through situations where you just got issues, whether they be health issues, relationship issues, the issues like we talked about in a devil card, with vices or situations, that bondage situations, the Leo is still standing and much stronger than they ever thought that they were. Because even though the Leo is a sign of confidence on the outside, again, we always have shadow issues. So as you can guess, a major point of contention and a major shadow issue with the Leo is going to be that very self-confidence when they're going through periods and times in their lives where they're not self-confident and they look exactly like this guy in this card. I know a Libra can descend into negative territory. Once they've been kind of knocked off that throne and knocked down as the king of the jungle, for instance, with like lions and things like that, they kill the other lion. It's not like two males are going to run the pack. It's going to be one male that runs, a pack of females, if I'm not mistaken. And if you want to be the dominant lion, you've got to fight and 9 times out of 10 die for that position. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how serious being the king of the jungle, being the king of their domain, standing in their self-confidence, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. It is not the outside, it is not always the outside motivating factors that make a Leo confident. And if they are, I feel like Leos in their lives are going to be challenged with things for them to really take a look at their inner worth and really, really discover that there is more to them than their funny personality, witty ways, their charm. They're just fun to be around, or the beauty in the Leo. I think a lot of Leos are good looking signs. So there's something much more there to the Leo, and once they discover that, that can be the basis for the self-confidence that nobody can take away. Because people can take away your self-confidence if it's based on outside things. So if it's based on the way you look, or it's based on what you have, your possessions, or how much money you have. All it takes is for someone to take those things away or to insult those things. So you don't look good. What do you have on today? You look fat. Oh, that's cheap. Who's that by? How much money do you have? What kind of car do you drive? All of those things are points of contention where somebody can diminish your self-esteem. But when it comes from the inside, when you know who you are, I dropped some cards, but I'm not going to use those as jump outs. They're going back in the deck, and I'm going to shuffle a few more times. But when you know who you are from the inside out, and that's where your confidence and your power of self and knowledge of self, it comes from the inside out. Nobody can take that away from you. I mean, even till your dying day, it'll go off with your spirit. So that's why it's so important to really, the journey is really working on self from the inside out, working on a spiritual journey, and then getting the other things right. But in the matrix, we're taught, you got to get out here 9 to 5, make all the money. Only thing that counts is money, and to hell with saving your soul. Who cares about your soul? So let's get into these heart oracle cards, Leo. Shuffling is just about done. I'm gonna cut them. I'm just going to do like a quick cut. This card wants to link up to the side, which I didn't intend, so we'll just do that. Let's go ahead and lay the cards. You got, I don't read these in reverse. Success and growth, simply love, sadness and isolation, And then on the bottom of the deck for the overall, you got Blossom. And I'm kind of going to start at the overall, at the Blossom, because I feel like every card that's laid out in the 3 positions on the table are part of you blossoming. Like I just talked about, being who you are from the inside. You know, Leos are very confident, and they always seem confident, but there's a deep lack of confidence on the inside that actually a lot of us deal with. It's not just the Leo, but because self-confidence is a major trait, it is the hallmark of a Leo. It affects them in such a different way, in such a intricate and fundamental way, to their just very level of survival. But the Blossom card, the overall energy, the number 20 card, this is a major arcana card in this deck. So you know, it's going to bring about a blossoming. You know what I mean? These 3 cards. So a blossoming of the you, of the self, of the inner self, of the real self, of the spirit. A evolution of your spirit, because you're going to understand yourself more. You're going to discover things about yourself that's going to lead you to a higher place that you were seeking. Because all of the abuse, all of the bondage, all of those things are to lead us into another place, into another realm, out of the existent reality, into some place that we can feel safe and feel comfortable and find refuge. So the first card I got was success and growth. So everything you're going through now, coming out of the bondage, seeing what is ahead of you, seeing the brightness and the rainbow and the light at the end of the tunnel, are steps on your path to success and growth. I mean, there is from him thinking, and it's like just a still man, just by this man being still and going within, because the purple card is a spirit card. Purple card is, the purple borders are spirit, the green borders are emotion, the indigo borders are mental, and then the black cards are going to be your major the red cards are action, and the black are your major arcana. So, you know, this is a spirit card. This is developing spiritual growth, growing spiritually and on a deeper level than the outside to experience success. We are here as humans to grow. I mean, nothing stays the same. Everything changes and goes through phases. Which leads you to the Simply Love card. And I'm really loving the way that these Heart Oracle cards gel with my Rider-Waite Tarot deck, because the number 6 Simply Love green emotion card came out right under the number 3, which is a it's a multiple of 6, and is multiple the name? The one that you multiply it by, do you call that one the multiplier? Or is it a denomination? But you know, 3 times 2 is 6. So these are right in line with each other. And right under the water, this would be the emotion card in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. It's not, you know, it's not equivalent to this one, but they're of the same element. So the water card that was telling me of happiness and rejoicing, maybe a support system, or love for yourself, a love for the mind, the body, and the spirit. Maybe that's the 3 that are on this card. Maybe this represents a marriage, a marrying of the mind, body, and spirit, so that you then can become as bright as the sun, and your hopes can be as bright as the sun. But anyway, so the Simply Love card says that whether it's a support system or it's you loving yourself, this is what's needed in the present time. You have to love yourself in almost every choice you make. And sometimes when we make choices, you know, I find that living for me, I'm a very emotional person. I'm a Cancer sign, but I find that living for me is asking myself questions before I take actions. It's actually, and I said I was emotional to also say what a lot of people overlook about Cancer is we're very mental as well. So, you know, before you make decisions and choices and take action, you know, my Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo, you guys are the action signs, the fire signs of the zodiac. So a lot of times you leap before you look. You do, and that's something Leos do, because especially, you know, if we're talking about like Aries and stuff, you got the chutzpah. There's just nothing that's going to stop you. You're the leaders. You know, not particularly Leo, more so Aries. They're the fire leaders. So they're the one that's going to have you jumping out the plane. But the Leos and the Sag had that same gut. They had that same go. They had that same action-oriented spirit. So before you just act, sometimes you really have to think things through and say, okay, well, if I do this, then this can happen and this can happen. And if those things happen, if I make this move, do I love myself? Is everything that I know of loving myself? If you took a piece of paper and you wrote down all the words that said what love were and that meant what love meant, and then you think about the actions you take sometime, and before you do them, you ask myself, if I do this, does this mean I love myself? And if you can't find the words on that paper, or the words that are synonymous with the actions you're about to take, if they aren't synonymous with the words that would identify actions of love, don't do those things. And sometimes it's just how life has to be, you know. But nowadays, 2016 and beyond, thinking is a lost art. So then that brings you to the number 3. You know, just like we were talking about the 3 of Cups up there, it's sadness and isolation. And I think this card is appropriate, and you don't want to look at this as a negative card. It is not a negative card. When you are trying to grow spiritually, when you are trying to understand yourself so that you, because we have to deal with a lot of things in this lifetime. I mean, as humans, we have to process birth, death, and dying. You know, people we care about losing our lives, tragedies. So when you are trying to evolve spiritually and get an understanding of this world, this realm, this dimension, and then also try to have some sort of understanding of what's going to happen when you die, what is life after death, you are going to find yourself. And when you start loving yourself more and letting go of the chains of bondage and breaking those chains that have you bonded to the drugs or alcoholism or sex addictions or relationships where you're in them but the person doesn't love you. You know, negative relationships with family members. You know, just a lack of love. When you take and you look at those situations and you really want to make a change and improve because you want to see a daily life that looks like this. You don't want your daily life to look like this. I mean, I'm not saying you don't want to. I'm saying this is a decision you've gotten to. Because if this is what you want, then do whatever you want to do. It's your life to live, not mine. And you don't want to go through your days like this, then it's gonna take isolation and some sadness when you look at the past. I can't say, even when I clear out my mental baggage, my emotional baggage, and you look back at some memories, and I can say, you know, I'm thankful for where I'm at now. When I look back at these things, I wasn't happy, and I didn't really want to be in these situations. And you know, there's a bittersweetness there when you really love somebody, or it's about a true love for family, or, you know, and family relationships aren't right, or love relationships aren't right, or the love that we have for ourselves isn't right. Like, you look back and you have to process those things in order to deal with them and move on with your future in a righteous way, on a path of lightness, and not walking in darkness. So in order to do that, you do have to reflect. You have to think back. You've got to isolate yourself, and there's going to be some sadness over certain memories. You know, when I think back to people who are no longer in my life sometimes, or, you know, I lost my dad 6 years ago, 6 or so years, 6 in a few months years ago. When I think back, you know, even though there's nothing about him that's really a bad memory for me, but it makes me sad to think back. So that is, and that's what I mean by cards aren't negative or positive. This may seem like a negative card, but it is a beautiful card. Only through sadness and isolation do you become the phoenix rising from the ashes. There's no other way to get there. You don't go through hurt and pain or through difficult situations in life and just rise like the phoenix. You know, you've got to go into the hermit mode. You've got to go into isolation and sadness in order to blossom, in order to come out whole and renewed with a renewed spirit. Every day is an opportunity to get an understanding. You know, as much as we can about this life and this world that we live in, guys. and what it is to be human and of humanity and of humankind. So, you know, guys, that was a reading. Part 1 is going to be out on the YouTube site. I will continually, if you guys remember this, guys, the people who have been with me from the beginning. I know this channel is really going to be something amazing. And I know, you know, my setups are off sometimes, and I'm getting all of my videos together, but I really thank you guys who watch, who take something from this, because it's not, you know, never judge a book by its cover. Sometimes it's the content that's housed within, and I really do this because I care about humanity. I care about society. You know, if I had 3 wishes, one of my wishes, I know people say it, but I really would wipe out like death, poverty, and all of that stuff, because you know, we all are connected to each other, and how can I live a happy life and a happy existence if my fellow man is not happy? So all the soul work that all of us light workers do, you know, and no, there's no degree. I don't have any degrees for this, but my degree comes straight from the Most High, from the Spirit, and from my heart. So you guys, I think this is a wonderful community, wonderful work we do. These are general readings. They might not resonate with anybody. You know, for my sign, I watch different people read. I like to see what they're going to say. And, you know, when you find what works for you, you stick with it. So I thank you guys for watching this channel. Leos, have a wonderful rest of May, a wonderful summer. Happy birthday in advance, but I'm sure I'll talk to you in a few more videos before your birthday actually rolls around. Thank you guys. Like I said, part 1 is up. I'm going to upload part 2. Leo, your video will probably not be fancy because I don't want this to take all night. Love you. Thanks for watching. Check my website out, Astro Tarot C is in the ocean, .weebly.com. Good night, guys.